Okay, so before we start the video, obviously we're painting some stuff out here and we're getting everything cleaned up, but so we're doing the full rebuild on the engine, okay? And a lot of guys took what I said in the last video the wrong way, and before I knew anything, we assumed that the waste oil caused any and all problems that that we had, and that was completely false. So a lot of guys took from the last video that, oh, running waste oil is what killed the motor or killed the pump or whatnot. And that was actually false. So like I said, before I start the video off and show you guys where we're at, see that rod right there, right here? It's supposed to stick out this far. When I bought this engine, it was broken off on the other side and this was locked in the on position. What ended up happening was this rod in the off position got broke. So, because the last 3 months I've been using this and I put a mechanical rod to it and it worked great for about 3 months until finally it snapped. So the pump itself is fine, the engine itself was fine, minus the piston rings being all in the same order for some reason. So whoever assembled that engine did not do it correctly on the rings, but everything else, we have a textbook perfect engine. But yeah, so I just want to let you guys know, running waste oil through your pump has nothing to do with this rod right here. This is the fuel shutoff rod, and that's ultimately what broke. So that's why we were rebuilding this, or at least getting it to the point where I can replace this. I might do a full rebuild, or I might just try to find a way to replace the rod. I don't know yet, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with the pump on the waste oil side. The reason it wasn't spitting much fuel out was because this was mostly in the off position. And before we get into the rest of it, here's the number 6 piston. And you can see that every one of the rings are in the same order. Same with up here. So, most of these rings, I think it was this one here, number 2 was only 45 degrees off. So that's where all the blow-by was coming from. Nothing wrong with the engine. Like I said, we're gonna slap it back together, but let's get into starting the video off. All right, next day, I got the oil pan cut off. Now, I don't know if this is gonna be from me, from when I was cutting and grinding before, when I welded the oil pan on, or, I don't know. Because if you look at the pickup, there's a bunch of stuff in it, and it's like, it's weird. It doesn't look, I don't know. Well, we're going to pull the rods and crank out and go check everything out. Because it seems like everything was alright. I'll spin the motor over and see if I can hear any weird noises. But I need to get this engine supported somehow. Alright, so I got it. I can get on the other side here. All up in the air. None of them have play or anything, so that's definitely a good sign. I'm gonna take them all off, I guess, one at a time and pop pistons out, and we shall see. Like I said, I'm only gonna do one at a time. If none of the rings are broken, we have a compressor tool. We'll throw it back in there. Might give it a good hone. We'll see. But also, definitely want to check the bearings just for shits and giggles. I mean, the engine ran great, but we're at this point in, you know. Let's just figure it out. Kind of dropped a little bit on the concrete there, but I only did what I had to do. So I lifted it up from one side, and it still just wants to hang like this. So I put a ratchet strap around it and was able to pull it so that it's straight. So I guess at this point we start pulling. I would like to get the cam out because we're going to do this whole case. So better get on that. Looks like there's 2 bolts for the cam, I believe, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to be doing these one at a time. Cylinder 1, no broken rings. That is good news. And then here is the bearings. I did clean it off a little bit, but so I'll look at them, compare them all. And on this side as well, see this one here. So we might grab a set of bearings just for shits and giggles. We'll see. But as long as the crank isn't damaged at all, that's what we'll do. Just using the flat side of that. So I'm going to get number 1 put back in. So I got all 6 of them out. I figured I'd save you the boring and, you know, one at a time bullshit. And here's what I'm finding, okay? So I see the bearings. Not a mark on any, I've cleaned them and got more oil on, but not a mark on any one of the bearings. Every one of the piston rings are intact. There's no melting. The cylinder walls are perfect. The only thing that I have discovered that is odd to me is that the number 6, all 3 of the piston rings are in the same order. There's the groove, there's a groove, there's a groove. That is the only thing out of the ordinary that I have found on this motor. Other than, I think number 2 is the same way. The bottom 2 are the same. They're supposed to be across from each other. But besides all that, there is not a speck of damage in this motor at all whatsoever. Nothing. So I'm thinking that that's what's wrong, is the rings are just on number 6, and that other one, for some reason, the gap was on the same side. So yeah, that's great news. And at this point, seeing how perfect this engine is, I'm just going to clean it up, slap some assembly lube in it, throw everything back together. We got a new oil pan for it. We're just going to make sure everything is clean, perfect. I do need to pull the cam yet, because like I said, I want to do back behind this case, because you can see like there's a little bit of bullshit out and around this case. So I do feel like that case is probably leaking. But besides that, like, I don't know at this point. I don't know what to tell people. I know I've said it before about the abuse that it goes through. Like I said, people told me I need an EGT gauge, and I do need to monitor my EGTs. I understand that, and I used to. But like I said, these engines, can they handle 1800 degree exhaust temps every single day? I'm fairly surprised. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till my dad gets back, probably on Monday. And we'll talk about what we want to do, if we want to rehone anything. I'm just going to see what he says makes sense, and we'll go from there. Like I said, he's been doing this for like 30, 40 years, some shit like that. So I'll see what his advice is at this point, but everything is as perfect as it's going to be, minus that. So that's the only thing I saw out of the ordinary. So I'm thinking we slap it back together, we take it, we go get it sprayed off. We swap things like this out. I do also think that some of the blow-by may have been attributed to the vacuum pump, because they do that as well. Where's my... This is a mess. No, vacuum pump's over here on the ground. I think that that's what is causing some of the blow-by issues. So now that we know I don't need an engine, we'll slap this bitch back together, and the money I was going to spend on the engine, I'll spend on the things around it, like a vacuum pump. I'm going to get a brand new one of those. Starter, AC compressor, pretty much everything. I'm going to paint this motor. Everything that goes back together is going to get painted. It's going to be painted. It's going to be nice. It's going to be pretty. And I swear to God, if it leaks one bit of oil, she's going off a cliff. I'm kidding. I can't do that, but you guys get the point. Yeah, so that's some great news. So before I forget, those metal shavings here that I tried to show you guys in the live, I am going to get a new pickup tube. But these are from when I drilled the oil pan. And I know it is, because that's the only thing that makes sense. When I drilled the oil pan for that, that's where all the metal shavings came from. That this caught all of that, and none of them went through the bearings or any of that. I'm assuming whatever it sucked up that was too small probably went through the oil filter anyway and got caught. But like small shit like that, fucking textbook perfect engine. Just I'm gonna put all the tools away today, and then we're gonna head out. I'll wait till Monday to finalize this. We'll see how long we put this thing on the back burner, because I do have shop work to deal with as well. Alright, so I came to the storage. You guys will see I got the backpack. I have a bunch of... I ordered a gasket set for this thing a while back, so since we're doing the rebuild. The only thing I didn't grab was the oil pan, the tappet cover, and a couple gaskets. I did grab some of the paint. That door is not closed. You know, for this thing not going forward and the tranny problems it has, it always starts, no matter how long I set it here. But yeah, so we're going to be taking that stuff over today. And... yeah, like I said, got the backpack, so bike's coming in clutch. Looks like it's a rainy day, but I'm not super worried about getting wet. So let's get over there and see what we got. I'll see you when we get there. All right, here we go. Gasket is skinned. We're gonna throw the front case on. Cleaned up pretty decently, I think. So, get all that cleaned up. Slap her on. Bolts. And call it a day. Alright, so, cam, I put red Loctite. Yes, I know I should use blue, but I used red because it's all we had. 18 foot-pounds on the cam retainers. I'm going to get the oil pump back in. Now, things like this, I can't paint this because, well, my paint's not going to stick to aluminum. So I did get it cleaned up as good as I can. I'm going to get the side of the block cleaned up. Once everything's thrown back together, I'm going to pressure wash the whole thing. But like the accessories, we're going to get, you know, painted, like the valve covers and stuff like that. So we'll see what we do with the P pump as well. But I would like to get a new power steering and vacuum pump and whatnot. But we are going to reuse the bearings because, like I said, everything looked good. I even verified with him. He said everything looked good. So there's no marking or scoring on them. They're just, you know, covered in oil and whatnot. So, and then we're going to clean all the sides of the pistons off, get all the oil off of there. And then these apparently are supposed to be across. Like, see how there's a oil collection ring right there? It's supposed to be across from it, not sitting up against it. So you can see this ring here, one was on the top and then one's like slightly over. So that would pertain to blow-by issues. So especially number 6. Number 6 is pretty bad, but we're gonna get it all cleaned up, slap it back together, call it a day. This shouldn't be all that bad. Would like to get the front case cover on at some point. So once I get all that, you can see we also did the dowel pin. That was already done. I did that a while back. Get that on, and then I think that's pretty much everything. Then I should be able to throw the whole case back on, gasket it, everything's good. Yes, the back of this was definitely leaking. So, also cleaned up all the surfaces. We have a pressure washer, so the surface is clean here for the new power steering pump whenever we put that on. Put the new sleeve on for the front main. Let me get those shoved in the gears real quick. There we go. Went and got a tool for it, so nice new sleeve for the front main, so that way we don't have any leaks, even though it wasn't leaking last time. It turns out it was just the case. Pull that out. Look at that. Nice new surface. Hopefully we don't mess that one up because I don't have a spare. Wow, the camera definitely makes it look a lot darker than what it is. Maybe that'll, let's see if this, no. Okay, so it's not gonna be perfect. I'm not super worried about it. Like I said, we're not building something perfect, but definitely want a little bit nicer than what we had. So stuff like that, that's gonna be blue. There's the color there. And then stuff like, I don't know, like this guy here and this guy and valve covers, intake horns, the fuel filter that's gutted, that's all gonna get painted. Maybe paint the lift pump just for shits and giggles. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, and then this guy here. So we'll start doing the head stuff later. But for now, like this guy needs to go back on the block, so I'll probably start painting that guy up as well. I'd like to get the front case cover on. Tomorrow we'll do the tappet cover and the oil pan. Somehow I got to strap it to the back of the bike. Coming together pretty nicely. Yeah, it shouldn't leak. Should be alright. I don't like how that, I think that was normal, yeah. Oh well. Yeah, so like I said, everything's perfect here, so slap those back on, get the oil pan on tomorrow, clean out the pickup tube, and then at some point we'll start degreasing all this bullshit, maybe get the motor mounts pulled off and stuff, and get a block off plug for the oil pressure sensor since I don't need it. Alright, here's where we are at. I got the front cover, front main on with the new wear sleeve. We got a new one of these, so I have all the gaskets and everything. This was an American or USA built oil cooler. So I replaced all the gaskets on that. We have billet freeze plugs. So just working on getting everything painted up right now. I am working on the bracket that goes right there. Yeah, so I'm gonna get all the pistons out and everything and pressure wash and clean them off and everything, and then just slap everything back together. I'm gonna get the comment about, why don't you just replace the rings or the bearings? No, I'm not gonna do that, because at the time when it comes down to it and this engine finally does die, more than likely we're just gonna get a whole new one. So, but that's where we're at, just getting everything painted up, and unfortunately I don't wanna paint and try to paint stuff like that, so just the front cover, and I'll pressure wash it all off once it's done, and the aluminum billet tappet cover will be going on tomorrow as well. All right, this is where I'm gonna call it today. I got the lift pump on. A lot of time has been spent like cleaning things more than actually throwing it together. So like I said, all this is painted, water pump is on, front main seal is on. I forgot to put the gear in it first, I'm an idiot. On the camera, this is a darker blue, which actually I kind of like what it looks like on the camera. It's kind of looks like a darker blue than what it actually is, but that's fine. It's lighter. It's like a teal. So all that stuff, yes, it's a little dirty right now. The camera actually makes it look really, really good, to be honest. I got this super tight. Everything is on. Like I said, all this stuff's gonna, the motor mounts and shit get off and everything. It'll get like one good pressure washing once it's all on, and yeah, I'll clean all this stuff up pretty good, but that's pretty much going to do it. Like I was saying, guys, if at the end of the day, if you guys think that motor oil is going to hurt your engine, these older 12 valves, especially with a P pump, it really doesn't. The only downside is I'm seeing is there's like a thick layer of oil on the side of the piston, and that's mainly because of the way that these things are oriented. My dad did say with how many miles are on this engine, that piston rings do kind of turn over time, so that could be a thing as well. But it's kind of odd that all three of these were in order when they start across from each other, so that's kind of weird. But besides that, you guys will see cam is in, so I can push all these down, and it is timed, so all good. And yeah, I painted the lift pump as well. I know you're not going to see it, but like a lot of this stuff, just kind of things to do to kind of make it nice. This way, like everything can get painted like this. I'm going to be painting this blue as well. So the main focus is if there is a leak, not everything is black. So this will kind of help me open up like where the leaks are at. We're not building a show truck here. Just, you know, just something different. I told you guys I was going to paint stuff, so I am. Like I said, just not going to be perfect. Jay went and did my door, so like this door is like nicer than the others now. Thanks. But yeah, so the valve covers, they'll get painted blue. The intake horn, that's going to be blue. The P pump, I'm not sure yet what we're going to do. Like I was saying, that broken piece there, so we got to figure that out. If it's something I can rebuild, great. Starter, I'm going to get that swapped out with Napa, and then we'll paint that one as well. Got the alternator thing here. Like I said, you guys can see it. It's not perfect. Let me know what color I should paint this guy here. Maybe just paint that black. And then the intake horn, or the intake itself, that'll be blue as well. The injection lines, stuff like that. But yeah, so Friday, we're going to have this thing done, all done and buttoned up by Friday. But as I don't know if I said it, so I'm going to repeat myself. We are going to wait on a pump, and we're going to wait on injectors. So those two, we're definitely going to get new ones of those. I'm going to talk to Power Driven Diesel and see what their recommendation is with the waste oil, if I need to get bigger injectors. But the only downside I saw to the oil was a little bit of buildup on the top of the head. That's pretty much it. And that is definitely resolvable. If you run some ATF through your system, it'll clean that out, no problem. So I'm noticing if it's going to start getting smoky like it was, that's going to be the time, okay, let's dump a thing of ATF in there, get that shit cleaned out, and then it won't smoke like it used to. So that's kind of what I'm noticing, or a really good, something that'll dissolve it or whatnot. So I'm not sure what I want to do with the clutch yet. It did start to slip in 6th gear, but we are going to be dumbing the power back on the P pump. It has a 0 plate in it now, but since I'm not really worried about going fast anymore and I just want reliability, I'm going to take the fuel plate and just push it to the front position and everything, so we're not worried about making a ton of power. it's not really the goal here. I just need something reliable that I can tow with. That's pretty much it. A little bit of oil in there. So I'm wondering, I'm contributing that to the the clutch slipping in 6th gear, but not sure. Turbo being held up by the hood. Get that out of the way. We are going to get a new alternator, and then I'll paint the new alternator. Just stuff like that. Turbo's been fine, so we're not going to worry about that, and that's pretty much it. You guys see my gutted, for anyone wondering, that's gutted, so no T-case, none of that shit. 2-wheel drive. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go check out Mudflap. If you guys see down in Louisiana, there was a stop down there that'll save you like $1.04 a gallon. So it's pretty insane, some of the savings they get, and they're back up there now. So if you go down in the description, go check them out. And I'll be doing a video on this at some point. And I do want to cover this. I get it. It's only a 300, but this thing gets phenomenal gas mileage. It's like a moped, but sportier. But at 70 miles a gallon, it does not make sense for me to go and get a bigger one, because I go and get a 650 or a 1000, and now my fuel mileage is only 50, whereas this gets 70. So I can drive this all over the place and not worry about it. So that's going to be the goal with that. But yeah, so as I said in every video, this should be here today. The delete should be here this week for this, and then the new exhaust should be here this week. I have it coming out of here, and then it's a 2-inch, and it actually aims it up. So that'll work, and then this pipe can be gone. But it definitely sounds really, really good for what it is. It kind of sounds like a Subaru. So, but yeah, all that stuff's coming, and then we're gonna probably, before this thing gets painted, because this thing needs painted, but it's like, I don't think it deserves it at this point. That needs to make me some money before I do that. But I do want to paint the bike black, and then we have underglow for it. So there will be a whole video on, these are white LEDs, so we're going to do white underglow. Basically, dark as possible, don't want to be seen, and then all the accessories are going to get painted black. Cannot wait to get rid of that stupid rear fender and go from there. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe out there. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do the shit I do. See ya.